the home screen has, much like many touchscreen phones these days, a bunch of icons on it. You can stretch them up, and as you can see there, not even intending to start the maps function, but nonetheless managing to. But you can stretch these up and have a look at a whole stack of stuff. And in fact, this is one of the issues that I've been facing since starting to use it. I think it's just a training thing in that you will take some time to get used to the resistive screen, but nonetheless there's an issue for me, I find, with getting these things to come up the screen and not actually select them. So yeah, there you go. So you can pop up various different icons, and you can also pull panels across as well, which is all very nice. There's a stack of different features in there, and then so that's 3 panels there, there's 3 panels there, and there's also 3 more panels there. So you've basically got 3 home screens which you can scroll horizontally across, and they have a kind of shutter blind effect. And then obviously you can pull each one up, and you can add additional icons on here as well. So all of these are available to be filled with icons of your choosing. So that's nice. You can see the eponymous Windows flag, if you like, at the top, whatever they call it. And you can see the drop down, much like any other Windows, as I call it, Pocket PC, but Windows mobile devices. This is an orange customized menu. You can just tell by the scheme on there, and in fact you can change the home screen to an orange home screen. I couldn't get on with that at all, and also I wanted to try out the Toshiba UI overlay, so hence the reason I'm on this one. But you do have bits of or elements of Windows Mobile in the background, and that's a little bit different, I suppose, from the more recent HTC devices, whereby they have completely subsumed the UI, and in normal use I guess you wouldn't come across it. But we've got the orange, the Microsoft Windows bar at the top, and we've got some semblance of it at the bottom as well. I think, yeah, so we can just jump into what is essentially the standard Microsoft phone, and much like a lot of the legacy UIs, you've got the close button. But again, back to the Toshiba UI. It does seem to be fairly well integrated, you've got no complaints there, but like I said, I'm really struggling with the resistive screen because I'm well used to a capacitive one, which is incidentally what the Hero has, and we'll be looking at that on video as well a bit later on. So moving on, let's just have a look at a few key features in here. Now, one of the things this device has got, as I mentioned before, is an absolutely massive screen on it. It is ginormous, and in fact, let's just grab a Hero over here. So, comparing the two like for like, you can see the screen on the TG01 is noticeably bigger. Either checking the diagonals or the verticals, you can see it's quite substantially bigger. So, that's a good thing, and also the screen clarity and resolution is very, very nice as well. I'm not sure if you're seeing it from this video, but certainly looking at it from a foot away is absolutely fantastic. And a good way to show that off, I thought, was to have a look at the G.I. Joe trailer, which is an upcoming film. And in fact, this is something else that caught me out as well. Double taps to get it to play. Now, this is into full screen mode, with a bit of reflection to deal with. But you can see the playback is actually super smooth, very nice, all very impressive. And we can go back from that, and you also saw the screen flip there as well, which is another interesting thing. So this is the screen rotate effort. Not, like I said, the quickest thing ever, but passable, I suppose. So there are 2 media players on the device, not just one, most bizarre. One of them is, I guess, for video files with other formats. One of them is Windows Media Player, unsurprisingly. So this help option here, which I'm muchly struggling to get going, will start playing a help screen, and this is obviously optimized for the screen, which is 800 by 480. And as you can see, it just talks you through various things. There's no sound on it, so it's not like you're not hearing any sound. There isn't actually any on there to start with, but you are seeing a nice instructional guide. And as I said, playback of video on the screen, absolutely superb. Can't really fault it at all. So that's nice. Is it going to stop? Yes, it is. So back to landscape there. Quick screen flip, and we are back on portrait again. I'm sorry about the fact that we're filming in widescreen HD, and we've got a portrait, or ostensibly portrait sized or portrait screen device, but unfortunately that's just the way it is. Let's have a look at a couple of other features. So I had a look at messaging the other day, and it's fairly familiar Windows Mobile menu screen, and then you can just double tap in there. Now that's one thing we should probably pick up on, is the keyboard. It's actually not bad. It's not the original Windows Mobile one. I mean, much of this is standard Windows Mobile, but Toshiba have done quite a nice job and kind of hacked in their keyboard. And let's just try IntoMobile. Maybe not the most accurate there ever. As I said, I personally am really struggling with the resistive keyboard, but for someone who I think is used to it, it might be okay. And in fact, just using my thumbnails, I can type IntoMobile reasonably well. It does the whole predictive guess the word thing, which is quite cool. So yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's got many. This sort of stage is where you start to see the original Windows Mobile UI dip in to the user experience, which I have to be honest, personally I'm not a big fan of, but I guess there's a lot of people out there that wouldn't mind it at all. So you've got other messaging functions there, you've got some browser functions. Speaking of which, shall we have a look at those? Now, Toshiba have been very, very kind to lend me a device with a SIM in it. So we're going over the cellular network here. We've got a GPRS signal on orange currently. You can probably see that at the top of the screen. So that's why the loading time isn't very spectacular. You can see the standard Windows, or rather Internet Explorer, loading circle, so it is doing something. It's not like it's stalled, but the loading time isn't especially fast, and in fact it's so slow the screen's dimmed itself. So here we go, we're on now, and in fact I don't particularly want to type anything on the keyboard. I would just kind of like to look around the screen. So let me get rid of the keyboard in fact. Right, and we're loading the orange home page. So this actually is quite good. It's bizarrely enough, for some reason, very, very responsive on this particular screen. We don't have, I believe, a perfect multi-touch. In fact, it doesn't appear that we've got it at all. So that's a bit of a shame. But having said that, handsets have different ways of getting about these, or getting around these sorts of things. There's a nice zoom function I'll show you in a minute that in fact works very well, probably as well as a pinch and squeeze effort with Apple's multi-touch. But yeah, I mean, you can see it's loaded the page quite nicely. We're unfortunately at the mercy of the mobile network and the signal strength, which is where I live, and that's not hugely strong, I have to say, but serviceable, I would say, and it certainly renders the web page fairly well as well. So let's close that. Let's pull this across. So we've got phone, settings and applications, and do we have another bar there or not? No, we don't. And that was media, and that was the internet stuff. So yeah, serviceable. I mean, the screen I don't find as responsive, but again, I think there's a lot of people out there that will get on with a resistive screen fairly well. If I had to kind of summarise this thing, I would say I love the hardware in an almost slightly wrong way. I think it's absolutely superb, but I am not a big fan of the software right now.